While recovering from surgery, I caught my husband whispering, "She might not make it. We can be together soon." To my nurse, I installed cameras and pretended not to know. When he returned one night to an empty room, the footage was already sent to everyone he feared most. Then his phone lit up with a message saying, "Let me take you back a bit. Last December, I had surgery to remove part of my colon. It was supposed to be straightforward, but there were complications. I was in the hospital in Nashville longer than expected, bedridden, drugged up, and feeling like death. Mark, my husband of 10 years, visited every day. At first, I thought he was being supportive, but I was wrong.
So wrong.
One night, I was half awake. Not asleep, not alert, just floating. Mark was in the room. I heard the door creak open and soft footsteps. Then whispers. At first, I thought maybe a nurse came in to check my vitals. But then I heard his voice. Mark, whispering. "She might not make it. We can be together soon." My stomach dropped. The nurse, Claire, giggled quietly. She whispered something back, but I couldn't make it out. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just laid there, breathing slow, heart pounding so loud, I thought it would give me away. That was the moment everything changed. I didn't confront him. I couldn't. I was weak. Tubes in my arm. Scars barely closed. I played along.
Smiled when he came in.
Let him hold my hand. Let him kiss my forehead and pretend like I was his whole world. All the while, my head spun. I called my younger sister, Jamie. Told her everything. She believed me right away. She always said Mark was slick, too slick. She brought in a tiny camera and hid it in a stuffed animal she put on the window ledge. Another one went inside the cabinet behind me. I had her test it until the angles were perfect. For the next week, I pretended to be asleep every night. Every single night, they came in. Mark and Claire. I caught it all. They were careful, but not enough. Whispering plans. Sharing secret touches when they thought no one was watching. At one point, Claire said, "Once the insurance clears, it'll be just us." They thought I was on my way out. I was the obstacle. Jamie and I gathered the footage. Hours of it. We edited it down into one clear, awful video.
No guessing. No doubts.
Just betrayal. Raw and sickening. Then I waited. One night, Mark walked in just after 10 p.m. carrying a smoothie like he always did. I wasn't there. The room was empty. No bed.
No machines.
Just the camera in the corner, blinking. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. The message lit up the screen. "Check your email. Then check your conscience. You're done." He didn't even sit down. He just froze. He never noticed the second camera still recording every twitch of panic on his face. He stood there for a long time like he couldn't move. Like the air got sucked out of the room. I knew what email he got. I sent it just minutes before. The subject line was simple. "Play this. Then run." Attached was the full video. Him and Claire, whispering over my drugged-up body. Talking about my life insurance. Her calling me dead weight. Him saying, "She's practically gone already." I sent that same email to his boss, his church elders, his parents, and just to really twist the knife, his ex-wife, who always said he'd screw me over one day. Mark didn't know I'd been discharged that morning. He didn't know I had already called a lawyer. Or that I had filed for divorce that afternoon. I didn't need to say a word. I let the footage talk for me. Back to that night. After a full minute of standing in the empty room, he turned around. Opened his phone again. Started typing. Probably trying to call Claire. That's when his phone buzzed again. New message. "She knows. Everyone knows. You should have smothered me when you had the chance." He dropped the phone. I was watching this all from a hotel room a few blocks away with Jamie. We had live access to the feed from the hospital camera. I needed to see his face when it all came crashing down. And it did. He picked up the phone, trembling. Tried to dial.
Got voicemail.
Then the phone rang. He jumped. The caller ID said, "Mom."
He stared at it.
Didn't answer. Then Pastor Mike. Then David Boss. It was beautiful. The next day, Claire was gone. She didn't show up for her shift. Someone said she quit over text. Coward. A week later, Mark's car got repoed from his office parking lot. Word was he was put on unpaid leave. Then, permanently separated. I'm sure those videos helped make HR's decision easy. He tried to reach me. Sent flowers to my sister's house. She dumped them in the trash and sent him a picture of it. He showed up at my lawyer's office once. They called the cops. My lawyer told me, this kind of thing? It's almost fun to work with. I was already moving into a small rental just outside Franklin. Quiet street. New locks. Jamie helped me paint the walls. But I wasn't done. A few weeks after the video went out, I got a call from a blocked number. I never answer those. But this time I did. Something told me to. It was Claire. At first, she didn't say anything. Just breathed. I waited. Then, finally, she said, he told me you wouldn't survive the surgery.
I didn't say anything.
He said you had no family. That you were alone. That you'd want us to be happy if anything happened. I let her ramble. Lies spilling out like a busted pipe. She started crying. Not loud, but shaky. She said he promised her the house. That they'd travel. That I had one foot in the grave already. Then she said something that made my blood go cold. He said he might help it along. I thought he was joking. But now I don't know. That's when I realized I was never just a burden to them. I might have been a target. I called my lawyer again. We reviewed everything. Sent the footage to the state medical board. Turns out Claire had been reported once before, back in Illinois. Same story, too close to a male patient's husband. Nothing was proven, but it was enough. Then came the police. I told them everything. From the whisper I heard to Claire's call. The cameras. The texts. The life insurance policy, $500,000, which I never knew he increased just 3 months before my surgery. That opened an investigation. Detectives questioned Mark. He played dumb. Said Claire was obsessed. Said I was confused from the drugs. But the footage said otherwise. And that's when the twist hit me. Mark wasn't done. One morning, I found my car tires slashed in the apartment parking lot. All 4. Nothing else was touched. No note. No broken windows. Just the tires. I knew it was him. A few nights later, I saw a black car parked across the street from my rental. Same car I'd seen near Jamie's house 2 days before. I walked outside, took a photo. The car sped off. I reported it. Cops came, made a report. Nothing else happened for a while. Then came the letter.
No stamp.
Just folded, taped, and shoved under my door. We could have had a beautiful life, but you made it ugly. You'll regret this. I kept it, handed it to the police. Jamie stayed with me every night after that. But I wasn't scared. Not anymore. I was angry. And I had one last move planned. I knew Mark wouldn't stop until he lost everything. And he hadn't, not yet. He still had his lies. His charm. He still thought he could scare me back into silence. So I made sure to take away the last thing he had left, control. I filed a restraining order. But that wasn't enough. I went further. I called every insurance company we had policies with. I gave them the police report, the texts, the recording. The life insurance policy was frozen. Investigated. No payout would ever go to him. Even if I dropped dead tomorrow. Then I went to the church where he used to volunteer. I walked straight into the pastor's office, handed him a flash drive. Watch this, I said, and then ask yourself if this is the kind of man who should lead prayer groups. He watched it. All of it. Mark was asked not to return. But the biggest hit came when I finally spoke to the woman he feared most, his ex-wife. Turns out, she had stories of her own. Stories the court never heard. About threats, manipulation, cheating, gaslighting. About how he drained her bank account and moved on like nothing happened. We met up for coffee, and it felt like talking to someone who lived my life 10 years before me. She agreed to talk to the DA. With her statement, plus Claire's phone call, and my footage, they had enough. Mark was arrested 2 weeks later. Not for attempted murder, They couldn't prove intent. But for conspiracy to commit fraud, harassment, and something called reckless endangerment. Enough to scare him. Enough to stain his name forever. Claire lost her license. She tried to get reinstated in another state, but the board flagged her. Her nursing career?
Done.
Mark spent 60 days in jail and got 3 years probation. He has to check in monthly, can't leave the state, and he can't come near me or Jamie. But it wasn't about the jail time. It was about the fall. He lost his job. His reputation. His savings, most of which I got in the divorce settlement. Thanks to the prenup, he forgot, I had tucked away from when I inherited my dad's land.
I sold that land.
Bought a small home. Outright, no mortgage. Peaceful place in a town where no one knows my name. I think about that hospital bed sometimes. How I almost didn't make it. How they leaned in, thinking they were writing my ending. But here I am. Alive.
Free.
Stronger. And Mark? He'll spend the rest of his life answering for that whisper. She might not make it, yeah. But I did. And I made damn sure they never forget it.